Hey everyone, welcome back. Or if you're new here, I'm thrilled you've joined us today. Picture this. It's 334 BC, and a 22-year-old king stands on the edge of the known world, his horse rearing up, his eyes blazing with a dream so big it could swallow empires. That's Alexander the Great, conqueror, visionary, a man who didn't just chase history, he made it. Now, imagine him as a kid, growing up under a father who didn't just raise a son, but forged a legend. Today, we're diving into Alexander's story, not as a warrior, but through the lens of a parenting rule that shaped him. Dare to be bold. This isn't just about dusty old history. It's about you, moms, dads, anyone raising kids in a world that's loud, uncertain, and sometimes a little too safe. If you ever wondered how to spark courage in your children, how to push them to dream bigger than the screen in their hands, or how to help them stand out when everyone else is blending in, this is for you. We're going to unpack what Alexander's father, Philip II, did to raise a kid who conquered half the world by 30, and how we can steal that playbook for our own families. So, settle in, maybe grab a tea or a snack, and let's journey back to ancient Macedonia for a lesson that hits home right here, right now. By the end, you'll have ideas to ignite boldness in your kids. Starting today, let's set the scene. Macedonia, 356 BC. The Mediterranean world is a patchwork of city-states and empires. Greece to the south, Persia sprawling east, danger on every border. Into this chaos comes Alexander, born to King Philip II, a tough, brilliant ruler who turned a backwater kingdom into a powerhouse. Philip wasn't just a king, he was a dad with a mission. He didn't want a timid heir who'd sit on the throne polishing gold. He wanted a son who'd ride out and take the world by storm. And that's exactly what he got. How? By raising Alexander with one unshakable rule: dare to be bold. Philip didn't coddle him, didn't let him coast. He threw him into challenges, gave him mentors like Aristotle, and taught him that greatness isn't handed to you, it's seized. Now, why does this matter to us, sitting in our homes in places like Seattle, Toronto, or London? Because raising kids today isn't so different from Philip's world. Sure, we're not dodging Persian armies, but we've got our own battles. Screen time sucking up imagination, peer pressure pushing conformity, a culture that sometimes rewards playing it safe over taking risks. As parents, we're not just keeping our kids fed and happy. We're shaping who they'll become. Alexander's story isn't some far-off tale. It's a mirror for us. Philip didn't raise a prince to hide in a palace. And we don't have to raise kids who shrink from the world either. His parenting rule, dare to be bold, gives us a way to light that fire in our own families, and it's stark understanding how he did it. Think about Alexander as a kid. He wasn't born swinging a sword or leading armies. He was a boy, curious, scrappy, probably a little wild. Philip saw that spark and fanned it into a blaze. One story stands out. When Alexander was about 12, a trader brought a massive horse to court, Bucephalus, a beast no one could tame. Grown men tried and failed, but Philip didn't stop Alexander from stepping up. The kid noticed the horse was spooked by its own shadow, so he turned it to face the sun, calmed it, and rode off like he'd been born in the saddle. Philip didn't say, "Stay back, it's too dangerous." He let him try, let him fail if he had to, and cheer when he succeeded. That moment wasn't just about a horse. It was about a father teaching his son to face fear head-on and turn it into triumph. That's the kind of parenting we can bring home. I heard about a dad in Oregon, Mark, who watched his 10-year-old son, Ethan, shy away from a school talent show. Ethan loved guitar, but froze at the idea of performing. Mark could have let it slide. Most of us would, right? Instead, he pulled an Alexander move. He didn't force Ethan, but he challenged him. What if you just tried it once? Worst case, you mess up and we laugh about it later. Mark practiced with him, turned it into a game, and when Ethan stepped on that stage, nervous, shaky, but strumming away, he didn't just play, he shone. Now he's the kid who volunteers first. Mark didn't make Ethan bold. He gave him room to dare, just like Philip did. So what's the secret sauce here? Philip's rule, dare to be bold, breaks down into 3 big lessons we can use today. Let's dive in, because this isn't about ancient kings anymore. It's about raising kids who will conquer their own worlds, whether at a classroom, a sports field, or a dream no one's dreamed yet. First, it's about throwing them into the deep end, not recklessly, but with purpose. Philip didn't shield Alexander from hard stuff. By 16, he left him in charge of Macedonia while he went off to war. A teenager running a kingdom? That's insane trust. But Philip knew boldness grows in the heat of real responsibility. Alexander had to negotiate with tribes, manage grumpy nobles, and prove he wasn't just a kid in over his head. He didn't flop, he thrived. Philip gave him a taste of the stakes early, and it stuck. We can do that too. It doesn't mean tossing our kids to the wolves, but letting them wrestle with challenges we might want to fix for them. I think of a mom in Calgary, Sarah, whose daughter Mia, 13, wanted to start a bake sale for a local charity. Sarah could have taken over, baked the cookies, set the price, manned the table. Instead, she stepped back. Mia figured out recipes, messed up a batch, priced stuff too low, then too high, and finally sold out after 3 tries. Sarah was there, guiding, not controlling, and Mia learned she could handle more than she thought. That's boldness blooming, not from a lecture, but from doing. Try this. Pick one thing your kid's curious about, a project, a sport, a cause, and let them lead it this week. Maybe it's cooking dinner, organizing a garage sale, or building something wacky in the backyard. Don't hover too much. Let them stumble, figure it out, and feel the rush of making it work. Tell them, I trust you to try this, like Philip trusted Alexander. It's not about perfection. It's about planting that seed of daring they'll carry forward. Next, it's about showing them bold models, not just telling them to be brave, but pointing to people who are. Philip didn't raise Alexander in a bubble. He brought in Aristotle. Yeah, the Aristotle, to teach him philosophy, science, war, everything. Alexander grew up hearing epic tales of Achilles and Hercules, heroes who didn't play small. Philip surrounded him with warriors, thinkers, doers, people who live big, and let that soak in. By the time Alexander was leading armies, he wasn't guessing what boldness looked like. He'd seen it up close. We've got our own Aristotles today, maybe not in togas, but all around us. Think about the people your kids could learn from. I met a guy in Manchester, Paul, who runs a carpentry shop. His 15-year-old daughter, Lily, was drifting, good kid, but no spark. Paul started bringing her to work, not to sweep floors, but to watch him and his crew build furniture. He'd point out the guy who'd lost everything and rebuild his life, the woman who taught herself welding from scratch. Lily didn't just see what get cut, she saw grit. Now she's sketching her own designs, talking about opening a shop someday. Paul didn't preach boldness. He showed her what it looks like. Here's a move for you. Introduce your kids to someone bold this week. Could be a family friend who started a business, a neighbor who's run a marathon, even a historical figure like Alexander. Read his story together. Watch a documentary, visit a local hero, or just talk about someone who inspires you. Ask your kid, what do you think makes them daring? Let them soak it in. See, it's not magic. It's a choice they can make too. The third piece is celebrating the wins, big or small, because boldness needs fuel. Philip didn't just nod when Alexander tamed Bucephalus. He threw a fit of pride, reportedly saying, Macedonia is too small for you. Go find a bigger kingdom. That wasn't quiet praise. It was a trumpet blast. Every time Alexander stepped up, winning his first battle at 18, crushing rebels. Philip made sure he knew it mattered. That confidence stuck with Alexander all the way to India. We can cheer like that too. It's not about trophies for everything. It's about noticing when they dare and making a moment. I'll never forget a story from a mom in Ohio, Jen. Her 11-year-old son, Lucas, was terrified of heights, but wanted to try a climbing wall at camp. Jen didn't push, just said, "Give a shot if you want." He made it halfway, froze, then kept going, shaking, but he hit the top. When he came down, Jen didn't shrug it off. She hugged him, said, "You just conquered something huge. Proud of you." Lucas still talks about that day, and now he's a kid eyeing the next challenge. Jen fueled his boldness with a shout, not a whisper. Try it out. Catch your kid being bold this week. Maybe they speak up in class, try a new trick on their bike, or stand up to a bully. Don't let it slide. Celebrate it. High-five them. Tell the family. Make it a story. Say, "That took guts and I see it." It's not about overpraising. It's about marking the moment so they'll chase it again. So, what was Alexander's deal, really? He wasn't fearless. Nobody is. He was bold because Philip raised him to be. By 20, he was king, inheriting a throne and an army after Philip's murder. Most kids that age would have buckled. Alexander didn't. He crushed revolts, united Greece, and marched into Asia, taking down the Persian Empire like it was a house of cards. By 30, he'd built an empire from Greece to India, 11 million square miles, because he dared to dream bigger than anyone else. That's not luck. That's a kid who grew up with a father saying, "Go for it and don't stop." How does that hit us today? We're not raising kings to conquer Persia, but we're raising kids to conquer their own fears, their own limits. The world's different. Our kids face social media trolls, not cavalry charges, but boldness still matters. It's the kid who starts a club when no one else will, who tries out for the team after a dozen no's, who says, "I've got an idea," when everyone's quiet. Philip didn't have a parenting book, but he had a rule: dare be bold. And it worked so well we're still talking about it 2,300 years later. Let's make this real. Imagine Alexander sitting down with our kids today, maybe over a burger or a Zoom call if we're dreaming big. What would he say? I think he'd lean in, that fire in his eyes, and tell them, don't wait for permission. Don't shrink to fit the room. Dare to be bold. Try what scares you. Chase what lights you up, and keep going when it's hard. You've got more in you than you know. And to us parents, he'd add, let them run with it. Push them a little. Cheer them loud. They'll surprise you. That's the challenge, isn't it? We're not just keeping our kids safe. We're sparking something. Philip wasn't perfect. He was tough, sometimes brutal, but he saw Alexander's potential and didn't let it sleep. We've got that power too. Every time we let our kids take a risk, point them to bold heroes heavy, or celebrate their guts, we're building Alexanders, not for war, but for a world that needs dreamers, doers, people who won't settle. Here's how we start. 3 steps you can take today. First, give them a challenge. Pick one thing they've been circling. Maybe a speech contest, a new hobby, fixing that old bike in the garage. Say, go for it. I've got your back. Let them lead. Mess up, win. Second, show them boldness. Find one person, a coach, a grandparent, even Alexander's story, and share it. Watch their eyes light up when they see what's possible. Third, cheer the heck out of them. Next time they step out, big or small, make it a moment. Tell them, that's bold and I'm proud. Write it down, tell your friends, let it stick. These aren't fancy tricks. They're Philip's playbook, tweaked for us. Alexander didn't conquer the world because he was born special. He did it because he was raised to dare. Our kids can dare too. Maybe not to build empires, but to build lives that matter. I think of a mom in Vancouver, Lisa, whose son Jake, 14, was scared to join debate club. Thought he'd flop. Lisa didn't push hard, just said, try one meeting. If it's awful, we'll get ice cream and call it a day. Jake went, stumbled through his first argument, and stuck with it. Last month, he won his first trophy. Lisa says he walks taller now, not because he's perfect, but because he dared. Alexander's life ended young, 33, worn out from battles and dreams too big for one body. But his story didn't stop. It lives in every kid who dares because someone believed they could. We're that someone. We're the Phillips of today, not kings, but parents with a chance to raise kids who will dare to be bold in a world that needs it. Whether they're inventing something wild, standing up for a friend, or just trying when it's easier to quit. So here's my ask. Don't let this be a 15-minute story you forget by dinner. Make it a spark. This week, dare with your kids. Give them one bold challenge. Maybe it's speaking up, starting something, facing a fear. Show them one bold soul. Share a story, point to a hero. And when they step up, cheer like it's the Olympics. You're not just raising kids. You're raising legends, one daring moment at a time. If this hit you, share it. Hit that share button. Send it to a parent, a friend, anyone who needs a nudge to raise bold kids. Subscribe if you haven't. We're digging into more stories like this. Tales that push us to live bigger. Drop a comment. What's one bold thing you'll dare your kid to try this week? I can't wait to hear it.